Hi, I'm Tom Wright. Welcome to the instructional DVD of Combustion. Before we go ahead, I have to say this. The producers and presenters of this DVD or download shall not be held liable for any accident, personal injury, illness or damage. You are utilising the information on this video at your own risk. The mixing of any chemicals is potentially dangerous, and this effect also involves fire.
It was Aristotle who came up with basically what we now know as the elements, okay? But his elements weren't like what scientists know as elements today, okay? He had four. He had fire, he had water, he had earth, and he had wind, okay? And he related these elements to emotions. So you've got water, obviously sadness, earth, happiness, and fire, obviously anger, yeah? And that's my favourite. I think fire is a lot like anger. Now there's two types of anger. Those with the short fuse, yeah? And those with the passive aggressive who let it build up, okay? Now people with a short fuse, I like to think of them quite poetic, like a match, okay? Their anger's over and it's gone, okay? Now I can tell you're not like that, are you?
Not like that.
You don't just let things get to you straight away. What you do, you save it up, don't you? You let that energy build up inside of you, yeah? And then just one day you're just like, "Bleh!" and you just let it out, okay? Now what I want you to do, we're going to try a little test with this match we've just burnt. Could you hold your fingers like that? I want you to hold on to the match. I don't want you to cover it, okay? I don't want you to do that. Just keep it open in your hand like that, and I just want you to focus on that. And I want you to remember a time when you were really angry, okay? And I want you to focus all that anger on that burnt out match, okay? And I want you to imagine that all this anger is just being condensed right down into that match, just like... Just like that for me, okay? And you're going to hold it about eye level, but don't cover it with your other hand, okay? Don't do that. Just hold it like that. Just hold on to it for me. Okay, and just stare at it. And when you're staring at it, I want you to remember a time you were really angry, okay? And you were quite angry. And I want you to remember what it felt like. And I want you to start to lock them emotions into the tip of that match, okay? I want you to lock all that emotion right into the tip of that match, okay? Start locking that emotion. I want you to think about how you felt. I want you to be able to feel. I want you to feel the blood boiling, okay? I want you to feel it. Just like that. Okay, so what we're going to do here is create a chemical reaction at the tip of the match, but we're going to use magic techniques to cover it up so that no one suspects that this chemical reaction's going on. Okay, cool. Now you're going to need to get some stuff. It does look like there's a lot of stuff, but it is well worth it, okay?
But also, you can find a lot of this stuff around your house.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
So
a lot of this stuff you'll have lying around anyway.
Okay, so let's go through it.
Right, first thing you're going to need is just a small box of matches, okay? These are available everywhere, and you've probably got some around your house anyway. Yeah. Okay, and then you also need extra long matches. These are just under 10 centimetres long, but they've got a larger head, which will come in handy.
That's important then.
Yeah, that is really important. We'll get to that later. But they're just normal safety matches. Okay, you're going to need paper we've got here. This is P60 grain, which is quite a coarse grain. Okay, you just got a normal lighter here. Yeah. You probably got loads of these lying around. Normal Stanley knife. Yeah. Available hardware store. You've probably got these in your shed. Okay. This is just hairspray. Extra strong hold is the best for doing this. This is once you've coated the match in the chemicals. Okay. This will just help stop. Yeah, because it'll just fall off otherwise, and you don't want that. Okay. You're going to need a little bit of lighter fluid. Okay.
Yeah. Most magicians will have lighter fluid.
Yeah, for your fire wallets and stuff. Yeah, so if you've got this hanging around the house, that's fine. But if you don't, it's readily available over the counter. Yeah, kiosks. Yeah. Okay, you're going to need to get just a teaspoon. Okay. But the teaspoon you use for this, don't put this back in your drawer. You don't want to be using this for tea after because it will have chemical residue on it. And the best thing to do is just keep all your equipment separate that you're going to use for this trick. Okay. You'll also need a pestle and mortar. Okay. Now, if you have one around the house already, get a new one. If you use it already, you don't want to be using this for chemicals.
Same thing again, anything.
Yeah, because you don't want to ingest this stuff. Okay.
Okay.
I bought this one from Asda, which cost about me £3.50, which is about $5.
Okay.
So they are easy to find at a good price, and you don't need a big extravagant granite one. You just need something simple. You're going to need this little thing. Now this is, you get them on the top of perfumes and aftershaves.
Oh, right,
and
yeah.
this one's actually on the top of a breath spray, like a minty breath spray.
Right, okay.
And I've just snapped that off, and you're going to need that. That's very important. It's very.
And that's
small.
about 10 mil.
Yeah, it's not big
at
all.
Thickness,
No.
that is. Okay.
You're going to need some blue tack. This is just blue tack. Everyone's got blue tack. Some scissors. They don't have to be small, but I prefer to use, when I'm cutting, trying to cut a bit more precisely, I like to use just some small nail
And the
scissors.
same thing, keep that separate to everything else
you
use.
Yeah, keep it separate.
Okay.
Just put it all in a little box or something. You don't have to.
All right.
Super glue. Again, you've probably already got this around your house.
Yeah, of course.
But you will find it if you need
News
to.
agents,
Easy,
hardware
easy.
stores, everywhere.
Just some cotton wool. This is normal cotton wool you'll get at Boots, anywhere, any cosmetic stores.
Your mum
Yeah.
got cotton wool, hasn't she?
And finally, a straw. This is just will help set up a chemical for you. But we'll get to that later. Now, one of the most important things.
The cutting mat.
Oh yeah, of course, and the cutting mat for when you're cutting with the Stanley knife.
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
Doesn't matter the table.
Okay. Yep. Now, the actual chemicals that will be reacting. First one is potassium permanganate. Okay.
Okay.
Now, this is available online, but you might find it at a tropical fish store. You might find it in a survival kit. You might even find it at your local chemist.
Is that what it's used for then?
No, what you use it for is you can use it to clean tropical fish tanks.
Oh, right.
You can use it to sterilise wounds and keep it out of the reach of children and store it just somewhere nice and cool and dry and just out the sun.
Maybe in a separate container.
Yeah, just somewhere, maybe in your shed.
Okay.
Just somewhere where it's not going to cause any harm and you know that it's going to be safe.
Okay. Is there anything else we need?
Yes, there is another chemical, which is brake fluid, .4 brake fluid.
Okay.
But we've not actually.
Or something?
Yeah, .4. You get like .3, .4, .5, and that's just the grading. But .4 works better.
Where can you get that? You can get that from?
You can get that from the one we've got is Wilco's, and we'll put a shot of it on the screen.
Not Wilco's.
The brake fluid.
Yeah.
And but there's an American brand called Castrol, and we'll get some pictures of that as well. And that one does work. But you'll probably find that most .4 brake fluids will work with this.
So if I go into a hardware store and I ask them about .4, they'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they'll be able to point you out the product straight away.
And is that it?
Yeah, just make sure when you're storing these chemicals, the potassium permanganate and the brake fluid are the two active ingredients. They're the ones that are actually reacting.
Do you obviously where do you keep them?
You just want to keep them separately. Separate rooms at all times in any large quantities. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Because when we're dealing with it, we're dealing on a very small scale. But on a big scale, these can cause some serious damage, and you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, serious
So
stuff.
just be responsible with these chemicals because they can be dangerous.
Okay.
Okay, the first thing we're going to do is go through the first step in making these matches. Okay?
Okay.
So what we're going to do, if you look at these two matches here, this is the small match and the extra long match.
Okay.
There's a noticeable size difference between the two heads.
And is that important then?
Yeah, because you can get more chemical on a bigger match.
Of course you can,
okay.
yeah.
So what we're going to have to do is this match is going to end up in this box.
And of course I'm not going to notice that. Because...
No, not when there's a load together, you're not.
Right,
they won't see that. Okay. So what we do is we're just going to use our Stanley knife, measure up the match with the small match.
Okay.
And we're just going to make a little notch like that. Okay?
All right. So you've just...
I've just literally made a very small notch in there.
All right.
Okay? Now we can use that as a guide. So just on every corner.
Obviously just really watch your fingers.
Yep, we're just cutting around each match, just like that. And then when you've got a cut all the way around, you can just break it off like that. Yep. And if you want to tidy it up at the bottom, you can. Just like that. And then that's ready. And you just want to make a few of them up.
Okay.
Right. This is the second stage in preparing these matches. Okay. This is the chemical stage. We're showing you here what's possible with these chemicals, but we advise you to take every safety precaution. Gloves, lab coat, goggles. If you're in any doubt, refer back to the disclaimer. We're not here to supervise you, we're just showing you how this works, okay? Now personally, I'm just going to wear gloves. I've been handling these chemicals for a long time now, and I'm confident enough where I can wear gloves.
Okay.
Okay.
And you've already prepared some matches,
yep.
haven't you? And
when you do this as well, make sure you've taken off all your jewellery. It goes
Right.
without saying, if you get any caught on it, you don't want to damage it.
Okay. And what happens if you sort of like get it on the work surface? Or...
If you get it on a work surface, you can clean it with a mild acid like vinegar or lemon juice. Water won't just work; because it's quite it's brown stain.
Okay.
You want lemon juice or vinegar, and the mild acid will lift it out of the work surface. Okay. So we've prepared a few more of these matches here, and what we've done is we've just sanded the bottoms with a little bit of sandpaper, just so they look nice and neat.
Matches.
Yep. And see when they're together like that, they don't look.
No, they don't. They look
place.
completely normal, yeah.
Right, so for this stage, you're going to need to take your pestle and mortar, all right, and the potassium permanganate.
Yeah.
Open that up, and we don't want to be working with a lot at a time, okay?
How much do you think you can
Literally, just that is enough.
That's like
just a little sprinkle.
half a teaspoon, isn't it?
Yeah, not much at all.
Okay.
Now, when it comes, it looks like black sand.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as it is, this won't work like this. Okay. We need to grind this down until it resembles purple flour. Okay, like baking flour. Okay, it'll be that sort of consistency.
That's what you're going to do now, is it?
Yeah. So as you can see that purple coming out,
yeah,
can't you?
Yeah.
It's quite a bright colour.
So what are you doing? You're just going around into it.
I'm just taking it round in a circle.
And how long do you do this for?
Well, until you see it's starting to turn purple there.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
But you'll know, there'll be no black left, is what I'm...
Right, so you keep doing it until there's no black left, it's just...
Yeah, it just looks... See, that's nearly done there, you see that?
Right, okay.
See, you can see the difference in colour, can't you? No. But just to be safe, just go around a few more times.
You just want to show that to the camera, see how much...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now at this point, you need to take this and put this somewhere where that's not going to dye anything. Okay. So I'll put that away. That. Alright. Okay. Now, take your teaspoon.
Yeah.
And you just want to gather all this up because there's a lot around the edge here. And they're all the smallest grains, so they're going to be the best for us to have.
So you need to scrape it all off?
Yeah, just the majority of it. Just so you're not wasting any.
Right.
Because then later it'll make it easier to clean up. Just like that, okay? Now, take your lighter fluid. Now, mixing these two chemicals won't cause a reaction, okay? Lighter fluid and potassium permanganate don't react.
This is completely...
Yep, completely null, okay? Open this up. Just like that.
Okay.
We're just going to add this like this.
How much do you recommend to put in there then?
Well, you've just got to sort of... See, if I mix that, how much I've put in there, okay, you can see it sort of looks really, really wet.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a good stage for it to be, all right? When you get... You don't want it to look like it's clumping up. Just a nice, smooth, wet consistency.
Right, okay.
Okay.
So is that perfect now? Do you need to add some more?
That is perfect.
That's the perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what it looks like. And it should just, if you just shake it, just fall off your spoon like that.
Right, okay.
Okay. Now, as you prepare these, lighter fluid obviously evaporates into the air. So you will have to keep adding it once it starts to dry out.
Okay.
Okay. Now, put this to one side. So I'll put a little bit more in there because it's going to start to dry out.
It gets in shot.
There you go. Right. Now we're going to take one of these matches and our sandpaper. Okay.
All right.
And we're just going to slowly brush up the match. See how it's scratching the match?
Yeah.
So what we want to do, we just want to scratch the surface of the match. This is going to help the chemical to not only cling to the match,
to stick.
Yep, but it's also going to mean we can increase the surface area.
You should do this on like newspaper, I'm guessing.
Yeah, just put down some paper
Right,
that can just be disposed of easily. Okay.
All right, so that's all scratched off.
Yep. So now you've got this really nice texture for adding this. Okay. So
and
now
you just put a little bit more light fluid in there.
Just because
it
didn't evaporate. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is bring this back.
Yeah.
And if I get a bit on my spoon, okay, I'm just going to literally start stroking it on just like that.
You've got that on camera, have you?
Yeah,
right, okay.
Very delicately, just like that.
Right, okay. I see.
Now, it don't matter if you go a bit, if it starts to go down the stick, until you get a good coating like that.
Right.
Now, we don't want the lighter fluid there, okay? So what we need to do now is just put this to one side.
Okay.
And then using our lighter, all we're going to do...
What's this doing?
This is just burning off the lighter fluid.
Right, okay.
So we go in, and we just blow it straight out.
All right.
Right? We don't let it burn, because if you let it burn, the flame's going to catch the potassium permanganate. Potassium permanganate is going to start to burn. Your match is going to burn, and then you can't do the trick.
So by just doing that, you're just locking it.
Literally, all I'm doing is getting rid of the lighter fluid.
How many times do you do that? Just once?
Just until it stops. Until the flame gets really small. See?
So that's
I'm not going to do it anymore. Yeah, I'm not going to do it anymore. And when it dries, because you scratched it, you're going to be able to see where you've missed. See that?
Yeah.
If I go around, it's all really nicely coated, and there's just a hole there.
Right.
Right? So now we can bring this back over and just fill in that little hole.
Yeah, I did see that. Actually, I should have told you.
I knew I saw it. I just wanted, that's another reason why scratching it is it's a good idea. And then again, you've just put a bit more on there.
Right,
so
okay.
Just burn that off. Now, at this point, the match would react. But if you go ahead and store this now, all that's just going to fall off. Because you've got to think now, that's just powder on there.
Of course.
Right. That's where the hairspray comes in.
Right, okay.
Right, okay. So all we do is you want to hold it.
Right.
Just at arm's length, just like this.
Do you want to get that?
Yeah. Hairspray, just about halfway up your arm. And then you just want to give it a good coating, just like that. Not too long. If you put too much on, then you'll stop the reaction. Okay? But just enough so it locks it in.
And that's all ready to go? That's
ready to go. Now you need to store this in some way where it's not going to be rattling around. And the way I do that is I have the big matchbox here.
Yeah.
That's been emptied of matches.
And you've got some.
And I've just put a little bit of blue tack just there. You can put two. You can put 2 layers of blue tack in and get 2 layers of matches.
Yeah.
But
do you want to just tip that so Scott can get that? Yes, great.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then that can just be pushed into the blue
being
tack.
Careful of the head.
That you don't want to be knocking it about. And that'll be okay now to
lift that up. It's actually not touching
the
cardboard
if I do
at
that,
all.
yes.
Elevated above the cardboard, so it's not going to rub on the match head.
And you're going to lose your coating.
Of course.
So we can leave that now, and we can just leave that for the hairspray to dry and prepare some more matches.
So how long does it normally, I mean, obviously I know you're going quite slow there.
Yeah.
How long does it normally take you to prepare one match?
Well,
do you think?
The most time-consuming part is grinding the chemical down. But then when you get into it, you can make a match in a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
A minute and a half to
a match. Okay. And you can get it down to a minute, but it just depends on, you might have missed a bit, so you have to go back and it makes it longer. But you might get it all first time, and
that's it, that's all stored and that's all ready to go?
That is ready to perform. So you can leave these, I'd say leave it for a good 3 hours before you perform, just so the hairspray has locked on there.
So 3 hours before you perform?
Yeah, because if the hairspray is wet, it's going to, you're going to reduce the chance of reaction, and you don't want that. So just leave it to dry, and then you're all ready to go.
Okay.
Right, this is the 3rd stage in preparing this trick, and that's the making of the matchbox itself. Now this is the matchbox I currently use when I perform this effect, thanks to David Penn for the idea of incorporating everything inside the matchbox. And we're going to learn how we make this so that this is workable and performable. Okay, what we're going to need to get is your small matchbox. Just empty all the matches out so that we literally have the tray and the sleeve. Okay?
Yeah. And these are the matches that you've cut down from the...
Yep, these are the ones we've trimmed down, ready to go in there in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to take this little spray top that we've taken off our breath freshener, our aftershave, our perfume, and just apply a small amount of super glue just onto the end there, like that.
Okay. Perfect.
And we're going to put this, I like to put this at the bottom left-hand corner, just like that, and just push that into place to make sure that dries.
That's pretty simple.
Just leave that to dry.
Just put a bit more super glue on if it doesn't stick.
Yeah, that'll be okay.
Perfect.
Right, and now that'll just slide into there. We need to cut a little square of the matchbox off. Okay, using our scissors, just match up the box like that so you can know approximately how far across you need to go.
Yeah, of course.
So then it's about,
If you can
so you
get
can
that,
see,
can you, Scott?
if I put it up like that, if I go about there,
Just enough so you can...
yeah, just so you can
the
see it.
matching later on.
So we just cut straight up though, like that, straight across, just like that, and then we just cut that flap off.
Okay.
And that goes in the bin. Now, when you slide these two together, that's going to be exposed, ready for you to add the chemical. Okay. But just so we can put the chemical in there and it's not going to leak out everywhere, you need to take your cotton wool, rip off a tiny amount, literally that.
All right. Okay.
And just roll it up a little bit, pop it into there, just like that, and you're ready to go.
That's a pretty fast setup. And then
Yep,
matches
and
go
then the matches will just fit
around.
into it like that.
And that's it. All
And that is one
set.
matchbox ready to go.
Simple, easy.
Yep.
Great.
So we're in a separate room now with the brake fluid, and I'm going to show you how you're going to add this to your cotton wool safely. Okay. Just take the cap off the brake fluid. Dip the straw into the brake fluid. Make sure you don't use this straw for drinking afterwards. That goes without saying. And once it's in there, just cover it with your thumb and pull it out. Now this will have some brake fluid going about however deep you've put that in up the straw there. Just come across to your cotton wool and just very slowly start releasing that into the cotton wool. And you want it to be at a point where it's wet, but it doesn't look shiny until you push down on it. And when you push down on it, it'll be shiny. So I need a little bit more here. Just a tiny little few drops more. Just like that. There we go. And if you put too much on, you can just use another little bit of cotton wool and dab it off. But that is ready to perform just like that. Right, this is the handling, the basic handling for this effect. Okay, we're going to use a match we've just coloured in blue for explanation purposes, but obviously when you perform this you're going to use your prepared potassium permanganate match. This is going to start in your hand, okay, with your matchbox covering the match, and this hole there is just covered with your thumb, just like that, okay? So you're holding it all just like that, and that's just hiding under the matchbox. Okay? So you push this out, take out a match, you're going to light this, okay?
Alright.
Blow it out, and now you're ready to do the switch. This is resting in your hands just like this, and as you're talking you ask them their name, just some questions, focus off you for a second. All you're going to do is come across, take the box, leaving the other match behind.
Of course, you'd angle your hand
Yep,
like this.
and now at this point, you don't want to stay like this. because they'll see the hole. Just keep it angled towards yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, whilst it's angled towards yourself, you want them to hold this match. Okay? But you need to add the brake fluid in a way that's not going to seem suspect.
Okay.
So what you do is you say, I want you to hold this match. And I'll show you this from behind. You say, I want you to hold this match. I don't want you to cover it. And at this, you're just pushing it into the brake fluid just for a second and then removing it. So you say, I don't want you to cover it. I just want you to hold it in view so everyone can see.
And then
now at this point,
right.
the reaction started. Okay?
Okay.
So you give it to them. You've got 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds of where you just need to fill with patter before the...
And the less
match.
you push in, the less you got more time you have.
Yeah, but you do want to make sure that you give time, because what's going to happen is you're going to push that in and the powder is going to soak up the brake fluid. So if you just dab like that, you've not given it time. You've not given it enough time to soak up through the match. So just sort of put it in there. I don't want you to cover it, okay? Just keep it out. And you've just given it that second and a half so it can absorb into the match and you'll have a successful reaction.
But I've seen you do it before when you've done it to the spectator and they've been holding it for about a good 30 seconds.
Yeah, you can, you know.
And you're going through all this pattern, then it smokes.
Yeah, we are dealing with something that isn't, we can't predict this. We can't predict the time scale. All we can do is give it the best chance.
Okay.
And that's what this method gives it the best chance of reacting. And when it reacts, it will react.
Okay.
Now we're going to go through the real-time handling of this effect. Okay?
All right.
Let's take a match, strike it, just blow that out. At this point, I'll address you so I can do the switch. Okay. I'd ask you just to hold that for me. Just get your fingers ready.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want you to shield it. Just hold it in your fingers. Okay.
All right.
At this point, matchbox can go away. And now you fill this time maybe with patter. You can fill this time just with silence, and you can just do some gestures. And all we're waiting for is the reaction. But you usually get a nice delay on it. See, although nothing is happening now, it is reacting. It just starts slowly. Yeah, it just the thing with the reaction is it starts slowly and builds up.
Wow.
There you go. Whoa. There you go. Just like that. So it started slow.
That was about, how long was that? Was that
It was
about a
over
minute?
30 seconds, I think. Over
Yeah.
30 seconds.
That's brilliant.
So and they can blow that out, and
But of course
that's
you're
just a
doing
bit
all
of
your
match
pattern
now.
or your psychological.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You've got plenty of time.
So, Aaron, how do you get the perfect timing of the combustion of the match?
Well, first what you have to think is every match is different.
Okay.
We do our best to make sure that they're pretty similar, but every match has to be treated as an individual match. Okay. Now, to get that nice long fuse where it's going to be slowly reacting, and then you get the combustion after a good 30 seconds, you just literally want to, as you shield it, just touch it and come out.
Just
don't linger about for ages.
Okay.
Just in, out. Give it to the spectator.
I'm guessing the worst thing could happen is if it just lit straight away, you wouldn't want that to happen.
Just make sure that if you leave it in there, what happens is the brake fluid starts to soak up.
Right.
But if you just touch it on there and give it to them, you've got a bit and it will soak up a lot slower.
Right.
And that way it reacts. You might find that when you put the match in and take it, you're waiting a long time. Smoke, but you'll never get the fire
to light, but
yeah,
that's good anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You're still showing the energy being put into the match. And at that point, because it's not lit, you can take it off them and strike it.
Okay.
And it will light again.
You mentioned something earlier. You've got to be careful if it drops into the
into the cotton wool. If you're replacing the wool regularly every 2 to 3 performances, I'd say no more than 4, then you shouldn't have too much of a problem with it. But if a match isn't made well enough, a chunk can fall off.
Fall into the wool.
Yeah, so the best thing to do is, once you've given it to them, just have a quick look at your matchbox. If you'll see some purple dye in there, maybe a bit of brown in there as well. Okay. But if you see a chunk, you just shake it or just knock it off.
You've got the possible that it could
Yeah,
react.
it could react on the box, and you don't want that.
Okay. And where would you practice? Where would you practice
outside
safely?
in a shed, maybe in a well-ventilated room. I mean, when you're at a venue, usually rooms are quite large, so you don't have to worry about doing them. I wouldn't do them in like a small enclosed room with no windows or anything like that.
Okay. And of course, you've got to remember the legal requirement at the start of the DVD that we're not here to supervise you. So you've got to do this on your own accord, and you've got to be as safe as possible. You've got to practice until you're confident that you can do this in the real world. And this is obviously at your own risk. So, Aaron, what routinning ideas can you tell us about for combustion?
Well, it's really limited to your imagination. I mean, the way I like to do it, I talk about Aristotle's elements of fire, water, and I say water's like sadness, earth is happiness, and I say fire is anger. And I bring out that heat, and I get them to remember, when was the last time you were really angry? Maybe you had an argument, maybe there's just something you're angry about, and lock that anger into the match head, and just burn away their anger or something like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Of course, you could also do it as like a voodoo kind of plot, where if you get them to hold the burnt match, then you light one, you can transfer the fire to their match. That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? Something like that. What was the other one? You could do like a lie detector kind of plot, where you could use something like oddball, and you narrow it down to maybe 2 spectators, and obviously one of them has the ball and one of them hasn't, but you can't decide. So you give them 2 matches, 2 burnt out matches, and obviously use the lie you talk about. Obviously when you lie, you get red-handed, and when you lie, you get hot flushes, and the same thing. The match lights, that they have the ball. So
just talking about focusing your energy would be a good presentation. It's very much an energy, very dramatic. The
of course, you guys are going to come up with your own routining ideas anyway. But so thanks for watching. This was produced by World Magic Shop.
You can find our Facebook page on facebook.com/World Magic Shop. If you have any personal performances, we'd love to see them, so post them. Yeah. TV rights are reserved for this effect, but please, we'd love to see you performing these.
Thanks for watching. Hi, I'm Tom Wright, and welcome to the DVD Combustion. This is Aaron Jones. Aaron, what are you wearing?
Is it too much?
Yeah. Awkward.